I'm Vicky and I'm from a community organisation called Bread and Butter. We teach the basic life skills of cookery and healthy, independent, sustainable living. In this video, I'm going to give you some recipe ideas for cooking for one. What we've discovered in a lot of our cookery classes is that individuals don't cook themselves a roast dinner. And that's because they feel it's a lot of effort to make for one person. And they also feel disinclined to put the oven on. However, we think this is a real shame not to be able to have one of the meals that you enjoy the most. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you some recipe ideas. They're all based around the humble chicken, how you can roast a chicken for yourself and then literally maximise every part of it and then create maybe up to four different dishes for yourself. Here I have used a traditional method for preparing the chicken for roasting. I've put a small slice of butter underneath the skin and on top of each breast to stop it from drying out. I've also added a slice of lemon and some fresh thyme for flavour. I put the other half of the lemon inside the cavity to create extra moisture. I've done a light covering of oil on top of the skin and added some salt and pepper. You can vary the type of herb that you might want to put on your chicken, or indeed you can use spice. In this chicken I've given a good covering with smoked paprika, but you can use any spice you fancy. For example, Cajun spice or jerk chicken, or literally a combination of various spices. Also, if you would like to have the oven on for less time and make your chicken cook quicker, what you can do is spatchcock your chicken.
To spatchcock or butterfly a chicken, place it breast side down. Using a pair of meat scissors or a large sharp knife, cut just to the side of the backbone, cutting all the way up. Once done so, then open the chicken out. Add some extra spice to the areas where it wasn't covered before, put on a baking tray and then cook in the oven.
To maximise the use of putting the oven on, I'm also going to roast the vegetables that I'm going to have in my roast dinner. However, I'm going to add additional vegetables and roast them at the same time because these vegetables I'm going to use for the extra meals that we're going to make with the chicken.
For my roast dinner, I'm going to have roast potatoes, parsnips and carrots. I'm also going to have roasted broccoli. Have you ever roasted broccoli? It literally takes 5 minutes and has quite a different flavour from boiled or steamed.
The additional vegetables that we're going to roast is a butternut squash and some sweet potatoes. These vegetables are ideal for those people living on their own because they last for a long time stored in a cool, dry place. However, if you felt that butternut squash was too large for your use, what you can use is some frozen butternut squash that's been pre-prepared, and then you can use as much or as little as you like. These are actually quite affordable as well. We're going to roast the vegetables because A, we're going to be maximising the use of the oven that we've turned on, but also by roasting the vegetables it gives a more intense flavour. We're going to use these vegetables to create a soup, and we're going to use that with the stock that we're going to create from the carcass of the chicken that is currently cooking.
I've added a sliced onion to the sweet potato and butternut squash, plus I've also added a couple of teaspoons of cumin seeds. That's so I can give the soup some flavour. But you can add anything else that you like to the soup, perhaps some curry powder or any other spices that you fancy. Your chicken is cooked when the juices from the thick part of the chicken, i.e. the leg, run clear. Remove the legs, breasts, wings and most of the loose meat from the carcass.
You want to put the carcass and all the rest of the bones into a large saucepan.
Then add your other ingredients. So the ends of the carrots, the ends of the green beans, the leftover ends from the leek that you used, a slice of onion. Then you want to add some flavouring, which you can do with the bay leaf. And I'm going to use some of the leftover thyme. And then the peppercorns. Then you will also need to add some salt. Don't use cruciferous vegetables such as broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower or Brussels sprouts, as they make the stock cloudy and quite frankly let out a huge pong. I save the end of my green beans and other vegetables like carrots in a freezer bag so I've always got them handy whenever I want to make some stock. Add 2.5 litres of cold water. Place on the hob, add the lid, bring the water to boiling and then simmer for approximately 2 hours on a low heat.
After the stock has been cooking for a couple of hours, you need to strain it. So you'll need a bowl and a sieve. Then simply pour it in through the sieve and all the stock will be collected in the bowl.
Disregard the vegetables and the clean bones and then remove the chicken from the other bones. By doing so, I've managed to get 90 grams of chicken here.
You now have 2 litres of homemade stock that we can use to make a soup. But before we make the homemade soup, I'm going to show you how to make an Asian broth.
To make a delicious Asian broth, the ingredients you need are a few slices of ginger, a garlic clove, a spring onion, or you could use a regular onion, a nest of egg noodles, and the vegetables that we've used for our other dishes. So 1 mushroom, a carrot, a couple of florets of broccoli. I'm also having some green beans, or you could just have peas if you don't have beans. Slice and chop your vegetables before adding to the broth. I'm also adding a little bit of sweet corn that I have in my freezer, and I had a bit of pepper left over, so I'm adding that as well. Add a tablespoon of oil, and then cook your ginger and your garlic in a pan for approximately 1 minute. Add 400 millilitres of your homemade stock, put the lid on and allow to cook for 15 minutes. This is so that the flavour of the garlic and ginger infuse into the stock. Next, add your vegetables and the egg noodles. Then add 40 grams of your cooked chicken. Give it a stir. Put the lid on and cook for 4 minutes. Enjoy your broth with some fresh coriander, a few sliced chillies and a squeeze of fresh lime. In addition to your roasted vegetables, you will also need 100 grams of split red lentils plus 1.5 litres of your homemade stock. Put your roasted vegetables in a pan, add the red lentils, then add the homemade stock. Put a lid on and allow to cook for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, use a stick blender to blend the soup. If it's a little thick, add some more stock or add some coconut milk if you'd like that flavour. This recipe makes enough for 4 to 5 bowls of soup, so enjoy one now and freeze the rest for later. To make a chicken leek and mushroom pie, you will need 1 leek, approximately 70 grams of mushrooms, 25 grams of butter, 2 tablespoons of plain flour and some puff pastry. You will also be using some of the chicken and the stock that you have made. Place the butter and the leeks in a saucepan, cover with a lid and let the leeks sweat in the butter for about 5 minutes. Next, add the flour and stir to incorporate, then cook for a minute. Then add the stock, stir to be incorporated and keep cooking until you get a nice thick creamy sauce. Then add your chicken and the mushrooms and mix through till combined. To loosen the mixture, add a splash of milk. Get 2 pots that can contain 200 millilitres of liquid. Add your chicken mixture. If you tripled the ingredients for this recipe, you would be able to make 6 pies using just 1 packet of puff pastry. Place a little of the pastry on the rim of each pot. Then cover with the pastry and trim the excess. If you have a spare egg, put a bit of egg wash on top, which helps make the pastry go a lovely golden brown. And cut a hole in the middle so that the steam can be released from the pie.
You can put 1 pie in the freezer and the other pie is ready to cook in the oven about 200 degrees for about 25 minutes. So out of one chicken, you've had enough meat to make a roast, between 2 to 6 chicken pies and an Asian broth. Depending on the size of the chicken, you could well have some meat left over which you could use for other dishes. You could try the classic combination of chicken, leek and mushroom in a risotto, for example, and use the loose meat for a sandwich or freeze the rest for a later date. So go on, spoil yourself and roast that chicken.